Tribulations,
Damn.
and
Boom.
in theory we are now live,
There it is.
and
We
in
all appear to be
reality,
alive.
it's just gonna start in the middle of one of our
Well done, Wayne.
sentences. Yes, well done, Wayne.
I like that.
Live. We got
Starts
it.
right mid-sentence. I love it.
Yeah.
Starts
And maybe-
right. It started a minute ago, but
Yeah,
Who knows though?
in media res, in the middle of things,
At
let the
least
viewer
people want- yeah.
wonder. Yeah.
When we last left off, we were talking about 5 minutes ago, which started like this. Okay, we good?
We're
You
good.
all happy?
Let's go.
We're rolling.
Okay. Welcome everybody to episode 4 of Titans and Tribulations. I am Casey Sherman, your dungeon master, and with me are John Carmack as Caraf Burchard, Dwarven Paladin, Lauren Urban as Atiye Morgenstern, Wood Elf Ranger, Sequoia Johnson as Wayne Dawnblossom, Half Elf Fighter, and Ginny Smith as Zane Belair, Half Elf, Half Human, Half Sorcerer, Half Bard. When last we met our crew, well, I guess let's kind of summarize 3 episodes worth. We have 4 new friends who have arrived at the Guild of the Titans in a small town, and each received a flyer, and they decided to go ahead and join this guild because they were each looking for something. After stopping some rats, solving a puzzle at a bridge, going to the forest to stop some anti-Titans. What's up, buddy?
So it's been downloaded.
Very cool. Sora is being downloaded, which is an important update that was happening at 8 o'clock tonight. So
Thank
we are
you.
happy it's working. And he was told if it doesn't work to come to me. So if we have to break, child video
Priorities.
game release
Yeah.
date is important.
Your son's childhood comes before my adulthood. This is totally understandable.
I'm good
This
with
is
that.
great.
I can't argue with that at all. Comes before mine too. So then they went to the forest and fought off some people who had kidnapped their turtle guide, and stopped everybody until they got to the point that they could head back, and found out that those people were actually part of the team, and they have now joined the Titans if they choose to. Upon accepting keys to their room, it turns out that they have joined. They each spent a wonderful night, during which nobody really remembers what happened, but separately somewhere else, a bird and a fox and a peacock and an armadillo all helped save a town of animals in the middle of a forest from an attack from vines and twigs, and then were called upon by a fox to help the queen, and that's entirely unrelated. Then they all woke up in the morning to find a note in the parlor that, hey, Dr. Ironbeard. They find a note in the parlor that says, you can do whatever you want to do. You can take the day off, or we've got a job for you. And it sounded pretty much like people wanted to relax a bit. So I'm turning it over to y'all. You've just read this note saying, we've got a job for you, but feel free to take a day off, because all of what we just described happened in one 24-hour period. So what do y'all do upon reading this note, deciding? I think some people were planning to steal. Some people, I don't want to put that in your mouth.
Atiye is very excited about exploring the house, rummaging through all of the drawers to find secrets and potentially steal.
She said house castle area while we were briefly off screen. I'm so sorry.
House castle area.
Yes.
That's great. Love house castle area. Perfect. So that's what Atiye intends to do. Do you say that to people, or so? Sorry, I'm going to do it this way.
Good point.
Everybody, give me a quick what you're thinking in your head that you're going to do.
I didn't.
My intention was to slowly pack a bag and see what mingle group is largest, and then wander over to it after I'm done packing my bag.
Okay.
See what mingle group? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, like if
Okay,
groups
okay.
if groups congeal, because I don't want to make the common mistake of going up and talking to someone and then everybody thinking that we're like best friends. They don't come talk to us because I don't know how to like project an open group.
That's totally part of it.
Yeah.
So Caraf is waiting, packing his stuff. You wander back into your room, get a little bit of stuff, so everybody kind of makes their social commitments in this brief period. Zane and Wayne, which still gets me every time. Wayne had previously voiced a desire to go on the the mission and seemed to his voice fell by the wayside.
Yeah, I think Wayne, being Wayne, would probably take a brief nap, but then he'd get bored and he would probably go explore and possibly get into a little bit of trouble
Okay.
in the town.
Nap and exploring, and Zane.
Just to be clear, this is where you left us off last time, where we could spend the day having a day to ourselves or doing whatever, right?
Yes,
Not a
and there was
different
talk
day.
of luxurious hair treatments, I believe.
Yes. So I'm just making sure because, I mean, Zane's been through it. I mean, there was a long run through the forest.
Mhm.
There's some pampering that is needed before we go on a mission that is going to decide our reputation in this guild organization, what have you. So there need to make ourselves pretty. Anybody that would like a little bit of pampering today is welcome to follow me. And we're just gonna have a day to take some self-care and beautification.
Caraf very quietly grabs a hairbrush very discreetly and tucks it away in their bag as Zane says this out loud and begins to kind of shuffle in the direction of Zane, hoping others will join.
As you do, so Caraf went in and has come back out. He's got a little bag, or they've got a little bag with some stuff in it. Zane mentions this. Wayne, you haven't yet gone to take a nap, but you are certainly welcome to now. And Atiye, you're looking around to see what there is. And for the first time, you notice that because it was a long day and you've only just gotten up for the first time. So you've come out of your rooms. There's the table in the middle with the note. And you realize that the other group had 5 members. And you look around at the table, and there are actually 5 doors around it. And the 5th one is ajar. And it is not... I mean, there's no sound coming from it, no checks necessary of any kind. You just noticed that there was a 5th door, and inside it, as you look toward the doorway, you see a little bit of steam coming out.
Ooh.
Just a little bit.
Steam or like smoke?
Steam.
Okay.
It's got that wet smell to it.
Oh, I wonder if that's the sauna. Should we
Whoa.
go see?
Caraf grabs their bag and just goes and stands near Zane. Caraf has decided the mingle group with Zane is the right group to be a part of. Sauna. Is there, I didn't know there was a sauna. Do you know there was a sauna? There's a sauna.
Atiye has already kind of wandered off. Like she's aware of the group and she's not like uninterested, but she also is just like kind of in the squirrel mode where she's like, oh, people are standing. I'm going to go wander at whatever's shiniest in my direction.
Give me an investigation check for while you're squirreling around.
Okay.
And so as y'all head to the door, Wayne, tell me in a second what you do. As y'all head to the door and open it, you see a large, it's larger than your bedrooms. It doesn't have a lock on the door, but, it doesn't have a keyhole on the door, which might be why nobody went toward it last night. And as you walk into the room, there is in the corner, it is stone, as if it was built into the earth, and water trickling down that looks like steam is coming off of the pool at the bottom, and a slight trickle and a slight bubble. To the other side, there's a table, and on that table there are, this world's version of fluffy towels. And then across the way, there are flowers lining the wall. It's just a normal floor like all the rest of it, just a stone castle-looking floor. But the attached to it is trellises the right word? There are vines and flowers growing along the wall. And Wayne, as they're heading into the room and Atiye starts to squirrel around, what is it that you're doing? Do you actually head to your room, or?
Yeah, Wayne glances in, takes a look at the room, and says, "Well, that looks fancy and indulgent. I'll be in my room."
Perfect. So Wayne goes back to his room with a 4. You head to the mirror image side because y'all's rooms are to the left when you walk in. You head to the mirror image side and you see a table similar to yours. It's got maybe some fancier, almost design work scrolled into it. Um, it looks like it could be some kind of logo, but it's very faint, so you can't get a good read on it. But it doesn't look like it's scratched up. It looks like somebody's been doodling, just not very deeply. And around it are 5 doors, each of which has a keyhole. And none of them would open, even though you accidentally bump into a handle or so.
Mhm.
So they all seem to be latched in some way. And in the middle, where you met at a large table and celebrated with drinks, there was a main door that Urban went in at the end of the evening, and that door does open at first. That door opens first, and as it opens, you see a long hallway befitting of what looks to be a castle. Make an insight or perception check. Okay. Yep, it's just a
Man,
hallway, just
my rolls
straight
are
back.
low.
So Zane and Caraf, what happens while spending time in the tiny spa pool in the steam room, or
Oh,
absolutely nothing?
I mean, when this door flies open and Zane sees all of this, he gasps and says, "Well, my goodness, they must have knew that I was coming and bringing guests." And rushes in and immediately starts getting a towel all warm to do little face compresses and beckons Caraf to join him, and they would have a nice soak and they would soak their faces, and any like perfumes or oils that were present he would help him apply them so that he relaxes and just has a wonderful time.
Carif absorbs all of this attention and care with grace and gratitude, and in the midst of being spiritually pampered by their new friend Zane, says to Zane, "I've noticed that your hair is always so smooth and like a unit, and I find that I get this, you might call it unwanted volume, others might call it, say, frizz. And how is there a spell, or is it just you have like is it like the fruit of a bit? How do you do this? What do you do? How do you get it? How do you destroy that frizz?"
So Caraf wants to exchange hair care.
Oh, absolutely,
Hair care
absolutely, yes.
advice. Okay. I'm sure that Zane would have some pro tips. I don't know that Jenny knows any of those pro tips, but I'm sure that Zane does.
What's one that doesn't make sense in the real world but would be something there? Do you rub honey
Okay.
in it? Do you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So let's
Casey
go
also
with
knows nothing about hair.
let's go with I have this special oil that I've prepared that's a mix of honey and spices, and it's diluted with a little bit of blessed water. And that is what I put in my hair every day right after I get up, and it does the trick. Might
And
I share some with you?
yes, does it work on back hair?
You know,
You know what?
I
Don't
don't
answer. Don't,
know.
okay. You know what? Maybe I don't need the answer, but thank you so much. I will.
I'm sure that you're
This
asking for a friend.
this is all anybody sees anyway. This is fine. Marvelous. I
Well,
feel
yeah,
like
because Caraf
Beautiful.
is
I mean,
traditionally has a chainmail outfit. So that has come off for the maybe first time, and you're seeing the leathers and the undergarments that go with it. Much more relaxed, still fully clothed at first,
yes,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
as is proper.
And yeah, and while all this is going on, Zane is taking all of this very seriously. Definitely is. I mean, imagine that it's not like he's like the employee of a spa or anything, but he's taken it on as his personal mission to make sure that you are relaxed and that you are pampered and that you are beautiful at the end of all of this.
I feel so loved. I've never felt so.
Wayne, you laid down. Give me a Constitution saving throw. This is going to determine, because you had a very long day yesterday. Just tell us how
Okay.
powerfully the nap takes you and when.
Naps are no joke, man. Naps are
Okay.
great.
So if you want to fall asleep, you can, but you're able to hold off and just, chill, relax if that's what you're aiming for. What is it that Wayne is trying to do with this time?
Well, after that brief conversation / pampering session between Zane and Caraf, there's a faint sound of a grunt from the direction of Wayne's room, which may have been him climbing into bed, may have been him overhearing the conversation. We're not sure which. But he decides that he's not as tired as he thought he was and heads out to explore the nearby town / get away from the spot.
Okay. So you hear so as you're pampering and right as you're putting the oils in your hair and you're starting to put some in Caraf's hair, that's when you hear the front heavy doors slam shut. Not by virtue of being slammed, but by virtue of they are large heavy doors. So when they shut, they shut. Atiye, you also hear this echoing down the hall behind you as you're walking forward. You see at the far end, you can see what looks like it's going to be a spiral, staircase, one of those very fancy, castle spires. So just you can see stairs that are curling around something, and on the way there are a few doors to the side. One of them actually has a name on the door, and it says Urban, Erben. I didn't write down the last name, and I've already forgotten it. So Urban last name, and then it says Future Inventor.
Aw, that's adorable.
As he had mentioned, his goal was to be here and to tinker, not to actually adventure.
Mhm.
So you see that on one door, and you start walking through. You got a 4 in the investigation, so give me another check. We'll call that the first one of 2,
Okay.
to see if things look up.
Arrgh.
A 7. You make it all the way. None of the doors, as you're looking, catch your interest, right? Because you're squirreling. You are not purposefully, focused on something. You are looking for the thing that's going to interest you. Where is that next nut? So as you're looking, you see, nope, that door's shut. Nope, that one's open, but there's nothing interesting in it. And you're peeking around, in the way that could easily, what is it? You could easily, hands off. I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't me. I was just nearby. And so as you're walking through, you peek in each. You find yourself at the bottom of the spiral staircase. Because you're not really thinking about where you're going, you just realize that you're down there. And in front of you is a only one door. It enters on almost not an atrium. What's the name for the like before a room, the big empty area?
Anteroom?
Say it again.
An anteroom?
An anteroom, yeah. So you see an anteroom right
Nice.
before the room. Hey, that makes sense. With a very large door that is closed. And as you reach to grab it, it's got a pull on it. And as you're pulling it, nothing is happening. We're going to come back to that though. So Wayne, you head into town. Is there anywhere in particular you're heading?
No, I think I'll probably just wander around and see if I can meet / talk to anybody, and then maybe later head back to the pub since I've been there before.
Okay, so not the pub at first. So you're thinking, you see people about. None of them particularly head towards you. Remember, the keep is kind of on the edge of town, past some trees. So you have to you get on the road. You wander past some trees. You see a couple that are out, walking maybe toward a field over on the side. You see some walking between houses as if they're going between businesses, some carrying a basket of something they've bought. Nobody really engages originally. The town is, it's not terribly eclectic, but from what you've seen before, there's a mix of it seems mostly humans, halflings, and gnomes. A lot of, that height, so there's a big height difference spread throughout, but there's a reason that most of the guild members have been half gnomes and halflings. It's just a popular area nearby. You said you're not looking for anything in particular. Give me a perception check while we hop back to Zane and Caraf. you've been pampering yourselves. You're in the this room that's been heating up. Atiye's been gone a while. You heard the door from Wayne shut a while back. Any important conversations that happen, or is this purely relaxation?
Mostly mingling. Just me getting to know Zane. Zane getting to know Caraf. I assume Zane's getting to know Caraf. Caraf is definitely trying to get to know Zane. Just as
Okay.
an affable, be friends with my new friend kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. How I want both of you to give me a let's say a wisdom saving throw or constitution, whichever you want.
I'm going wisdom.
Okay.
Feeling
Yeah, which one
wise.
am I going to go with? Let's see. What was my two choices? Wisdom or Constitution?
Constitution save.
Right.
Okay, perfect. So you're there. The steam is filling up the room, especially once you started using the herbs and the spices and the honey from your hair, and the flowers aroma gets stronger the longer that you're in there. You notice Zane notices that it's almost like an incense, right? It is a strong aroma that is trying to soothe you. It is trying to affect you for the purpose of soothing, of relaxing. So there's something in the air that, especially with your history, you think you've seen this in places. Different herbs and things that can be used to help relax one for a massage, right? To help relax one for a nap, to luxuriate in the woods, right? Such things as you might have seen somewhere. So you're used to this. So it is not just the physical version of all the things you're seeing. There's something. They have some of the special stuff that was placed here for y'all to relax to or relax with. Carf, you're just feeling more relaxed than you're used to, significantly.
Much better day than I'm used to having. This is great.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would have wished for, as it so happens.
Perfect.
Thank you, Zane.
Yeah. So, Atiye, speaking of wished for, you're looking around without much purpose, but you've been looking for a while, so you've probably reached a point of wondering.
Mhm.
Thoughts are passing through your head. So, what is Atiye, who's so used to the forest, who's not used to being in a castle, who's curious what are in people's drawers, and you haven't seen any drawers yet? Who's curious, like, what is it that you're thinking of as you're looking through? What are you
Yeah.
expecting to find?
That's a great question. So Atiye is not like really directly thinking about, but thoughts are popping up about just the people that she's met in this past, adventure, and kind of feelings of distrust pop up, but mostly related to the fact that, she had a really kind of traumatic childhood, was basically like, abandoned by her family. And so she's just trying to get a sense. She's very like hyper vigilant about the people who she's with. But then there's also like this little twing every time, like when she saw Urban's door, she was thinking like, oh man, that little cutie, and so she's feeling these feelings of like friendship happen. And then at the same time, she's like looking for clues of like what might be underneath, if there's any danger, and so I think that's kind of part of the reason why she's exploring is, to get a better sense if there's something she should be worried about or whether she can trust people here.
Okay. I think the symbolism of it as you're saying it, you're looking for danger underneath. You're looking for what is it that you can't see, what's being hidden, and as you're pulling on the ring for the door, it opens and you see just more castle floor. In the middle of the floor, the stone heads forward, and there is a raised bit like a well, hip high. How big is this? A yard diameter. And you can, so you walk over to it. You're looking for what's hidden underneath, and you get to this circle. And as you look inside, it is dark, and it is dark, and it is dark, and you realize you can't see anything down there.
Yeah.
There's of course, as there has to be right nearby, a little pebble if you wanted to drop it and see what happens.
Yeah, Atiye would definitely drop the pebble.
Okay. Yeah.
You do
So
have a
there's just
history
right
with
on the
rocks.
edge.
I
See,
know,
you
I
might-
love rocks.
She does, yeah. So you pick up the pebble and drop it in, and you wait, and you never hear a splash, and you never hear anything come from it.
That would be very intriguing.
Give me a perception check while you're here at the edge.
I like the little music cues.
Yeah.
I think I did.
You did, yeah. Okay. Again, you don't see anything ever.
Yeah, today I'm just, yeah,
It's okay. You're just relaxed. You had a very full previous day.
exactly.
Y'all got up a little later than normal. It is because it was a very long dream that nobody remembers. And as so the sun has been up for a couple hours, even if you're normally early risers.
Oh no.
It's by now, as you've been wandering, because you haven't been sprinting through, and we've had 2 luxuriating, and it takes a while to walk to town and back. We're hitting early afternoon, and it's about this time that Wayne, you see, walking around, and you're looking for people, and you notice. As you might not normally, but you had a very high perception roll, you notice that suddenly everything around you gets a bit darker. And you look around and you see that there are some very thick clouds, not dark like full of rain, but there's some thick clouds passing in front of the sun to a point where it's not an eclipse, but it's darker than it would ever be at this time of day. And looking at the horizon, you can see that it looks like it's going to stay that way for a little bit. So you're walking through town. You notice this. You see that there's a change in something. You've seen it before. Not the most surprising thing ever, but it's noticeable. And as you're walking around, I'm going to say the perception check is also non-tangible things, intangible things. You kind of get. I'm going to say a sensation of, well, I think Sequoia knows this sensation because Casey does, and I assume all humans know what I know, which is absolutely wrong, but I'm doing it anyway. You have at some point perhaps sat in a room in a house that felt empty, or, it's very subdued, nothing's going on. And you can tell from that high-pitched whine that you don't actually know what it is, that there's a TV on in the other room, or that just turned on, or that just turned off. Like you know that, even though you can't hear it consciously. There's somebody just turned on a TV. There's that something. Mm-hmm. You, as the clouds pass in front, get that there's something on the other side feeling. Something is open. Something that you don't see, you can't touch. There's motion that you can't explain in a common sense way.
Okay.
And as you're walking through town, again, 21 perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give you too much.
Yes.
So 21 perception. As you're walking through town, you see that all the people, you give me an insight also.
Insight.
Because this is about how people act rather than just what you see. It won't detract from your 21, but it could add to it. 11. Okay. So you notice just a slight change in how people are acting. The kind that if you're talking to a friend and you see them one day, you're like, something's different today. Is it a mood thing? Is it something in their demeanor? And suddenly all the people you've seen walking through, there's something different in their demeanor, but you can't put your finger on it. Mm-hmm. At about the same time that you get the feeling of otherness from elsewhere.
Okay.
Zane and Caraf, you're feeling good. You're relaxed. It's been probably more time than you realize, but it's a lovely day. Anything special that y'all are doing? So there's been the hair care. Right?
Yes.
There's been sitting in the water, perhaps, letting the bubbles just surround you of the natural hot spring that is apparently a part of.
There's only so long that you can do that, though. I mean, you can't just
Right.
continue to sit in there.
Yeah. So what is next, or what other anything else that's ritualistic with relaxing? Or yes, hi.
Aw.
Hey,
Hey.
buddy.
Yes, he's a ham. He knew we were here.
That's great, though.
Yeah, he
We
just
like
giggled.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, anything more ritualistic that you do for that, or is a transition towards something else as steeping has lost its grandeur?
Steepiness.
Steeping. I mean, I would imagine that Zane would really want to have a nice meal or snack periodically. So if there was some food that happened to be accessible or available, he'd probably try to go check that out. Or if there wasn't, he would probably ask. He would probably try to find somebody that he could ask.
Okay.
The only other thing I can think of is that if there was like a kind of like a quiet place where he could do some meditation, and he
Mhm.
would invite Caraf to join him for the meditation with nature, if he was interested.
Caraf delightfully accepts, delightedly accepts. And on the way, while they're getting their stuff together and everybody, the two of us are packing, Caraf turns to Zane and says, So do you trust this place? Do you feel like they've got our best interests at heart?
You know, I have to say, I'm not a fan of having the wool pulled over my eyes during our initiation. I don't really like how that went out, but I'm willing to give
Agreed.
them a shot. We should give this a go. I think there's promise here. I feel good about it. I don't know why, but
Okay.
I think we should give them a shot.
I trust you. And so, if because I don't think anybody could look as fabulous as you and not have good intentions. I think anybody who wants other people to feel such joy upon looking at them, I just trust that person. I just do. So I think you probably know what you're talking about. Okay, this
Well,
place.
aren't you just a sweetheart? Thank you so much. I really do. I want to think that these people have good intentions, but I've got my eye on them.
Oh.
There's a little bit of paranoia that you can really sense it. And as you were talking, I can't convey this very well over camera, but as you're talking to him, you sense this undercurrent of kind of distrust and paranoia that doesn't seep its way all the way to the surface. He's trying to project a very calm exterior, confident. He's got some paranoia seeping under there.
And Caraf is at least in tune enough to see that maybe there may be some trepidation, but Zane, his intention to soothe me is soothing to me, because at least one person is on my side and has my back. And if things go south, at least we've established that the two of us maybe wondered if it was coming.
Oh man, alliances.
Great. So Atiye, you have stood here for a while. You were investigating. You had to wait a moment to hear whether it would. Don't breathe yet. Maybe you don't want to miss it until it's clearly far enough away that you wouldn't have heard it. What is it? What do you after? That is all that there is to this room. There is a big well in the center. The door you came in, it's actually a pretty small room. With the you don't have to roll for it. You've done enough walking through the castle. Every other room has been larger than it seems like it should be. It's a very small room.
Yeah.
No reason why.
So Atiye's taking like mental notes, of the layout of the land. And she wants to go back and tell the group what she found. But she also so she turns back and is walking, and she kind of overhears it. If I'm allowed to, I think that she would overhear, from the doorway, the conversation that Zane and Caraf are having about distrust and everything. And so she's intrigued by this, but then she also hears them be like, "Oh, we should trust these people." So she holds back on telling them what she saw, because she doesn't want to, kind of throw the group into mistrust chaos kind of thing. And when she enters, they're still doing packing up all their pampering, and she looks kind of sheepishly at the group, and she's like, "Is there any pretty hair stuff left over that I could use?"
Oh,
Here,
don't you worry, of course. And
Yeah,
if,
she just
you
rubs
know,
on Caraf's back where
Mm.
if
there's
we
still lotion.
did run out, we would gladly make you some more. There's plenty for everyone.
So she's like very super happy on the inside, but like, just a meek smile. But like it's clear that she's very touched by the fact that these people, are kind. And yeah, she lets Caraf rub his moisturized back lotion into her hair, and she's okay with it. She's just like happy to be, getting some kind of like affection. And then she's, letting them go off and find food. And Atiye is also wondering where Wayne went. She heard the door, but she kind of wasn't processing it fully. So
Yeah. I'm not big on player versus player role. It's a fun game we're playing together. That said, when you describe that you have these emotions and that you're not going to let them see it, I want to see you roll either performance, you're acting like everything's okay, or a deception, you're hiding, whatever you're better at, or a persuasion. Just you want to convince them that you're focusing on the positive. One of those three.
okay.
I'm happy to roll for if you want me to roll for what I did earlier.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah. You did describe that, didn't you? Yeah. So
I did
so
kind
you
of kind of describe that I was trying
so you
to.
give me a deception or a deception,
So
performance, persuasion.
it'd be like
how
me
you
trying
care.
to mask. I don't know what masking would fall under.
I would
so
call masking deception because so this is where I'm going to leave it to you to describe what you want. To me,
just
masking
kidding.
as in I'm going to take on this role is performance, right? I'm going to be the person that I always am, that everybody loves, and it's wonderful. Is going to be performance. Deception is I'm going to say something that is not true and purposefully try to hold that from you. So my question is not, or my answer is not what you should roll. My question to you is, which is it that Zane's doing?
Let me say a different way then. I don't know that this would be a disingenuine type of performance. I think this would be more of I'm genuinely distrustful of people that I don't know, and I have some amount of anxiety underneath me because of that. So I'm trying to keep other people from seeing that part of me, but it's not necessarily that I'm trying to deceive someone.
I'd call that persuasion 100%.
Persuasion, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that happens to be a charisma check. Oh, darn.
Oh, darn.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Nice.
So then I'm going to need this being done. First, Caraf, make an insight check. And you never have to. I have willfully failed multiple things where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be paying attention to that. But when you were asking about should we trust, I think you're paying attention. So a 13 doesn't beat a 21, so you feel persuaded, or you don't sense the undertones naturally. And then you're both allowed to roll another insight regarding Atiye coming in and being just a cheerful. I'm going to go with the 14 for the deception. You're trying to.
Damn! Wow.
So they both know that it's not that she was lying. It's you both have this feeling as she's coming in and she's been on her own and she comes back that while she's acting happy and enjoying the doting, there's something else on her mind, right? It could be that she stole something and shouldn't have. It could be that she destroyed something in mischief. It could be any number of things. You just know that she's not fully as positive as she is being, whether it's a choice or not. You can always act on it or ignore it.
More than what is being said. I assume she'll open up in time, and Caraf simply knows this and lets it be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Zane would be like kind of checking in a way. Is like, and how was your day? Tell me about what you've done. Just open-ended question. Nice. And you can answer it however you want. If you want to be like, thanks for the hair products and walk away or whatever you can.
See you later. My hair's beautiful. Yeah. So Atiye isn't trying to be, like withholding to gain power or anything. She's just trying to like fit in. So when Zane, like inquires about her day or her adventure, she mentions that like most of the rooms are closed and that, she kind of found this spirally tower, and she's trying to like gauge. Whenever you said player on player, I don't actually know what that means. So if I do it again, just let me know.
No. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is, you did not say I want to lie to them, but
I see.
I prompted and said, okay, well, you're describing this. I want you to roll deception.
Okay.
So I'm not big on. I want to know what you said. I want to roll insight on that because we're having fun together, right?
Yeah.
So I just more wanted. To me, the biggest thing is it's almost like a movie, right? I want to see what we see. So did we see a happy Atiye, or did we see a little bit of worry on her face? And what we saw from the deception versus the insight is the camera can tell. Hey,
Yeah.
like the audience knows.
That's a
Don't know what it
fake
is, but there's
smile.
a look.
Yeah. So Atiye, since she's like trying to bond or at least trying to, be open to this group, although still kind of, protective because she really didn't find anything on her exploration, to give her confidence in anything, but she does feel at least a little bit better in the fact that she overheard, some similar concerns about like just joining this random castle group of adventurers. So she opens up and tells them about, her exploration, and she mentions that she found this weird well that doesn't seem to have an ending. But she doesn't she doesn't try to, make it into a big deal. She mentions it and like kind of looks to see how other people are reacting, and mentions that like, she could show it to them because she's interested in it, and she also thinks that the group can be trustworthy at this point.
How would you describe this well? Like, would you have said I tried to throw a rock down at the bottom of it and it didn't hit the bottom, or would you just say
There's
I
no,
found
yeah.
a weird well?
Yeah, I'd say like, well, most of the doors that I found were closed or locked or didn't really have anything. It was weird though, because up at the top of this spirally tower staircase, there was one small door, and in the middle this well that I don't know where it goes to. I can't see anything, and it feels like it doesn't end ever. And I just don't know what that's about. Um, I got a weird feeling about it, but you know. That's all I know so far.
So Zane would have lounged back on one arm and would be giving Atiye his full attention as if he's watching some kind of like performance art like description of like an entire like saga. Like, really?
Mhm.
Well, somebody needs to go investigate this. This is fascinating.
And Atiye's super happy. I know our video isn't here, but she's, very excited because this is what she wanted to do. Or like this is what she would have hoped for, is that like other people would be excited about this. So she kind of like claps her hands up because she's very enthusiastic about the idea of figuring out what this weird well is. And she mentioned, should we wait for Zane or should we go now?
You mean Wayne?
Wayne?
Oh yes, sorry, Wayne. Wayne Zane.
Well, since we don't know anything about this, I think that we should wait.
And then there's time for
Definitely.
food.
Exactly.
And the well's not going anywhere,
Exactly.
One would assume.
In the so Wayne, you've been walking in the map in town that we've got up on Roll20. I would say that you've probably you came along the path here to the east. I think I can actually do this. You should be able to see. Okay. You probably wait no. Where's show to others? Let's see. There. So you probably came over here and then wandered along by the houses. So like you were going to kind of wander between some. So you've done some, all around the place, kind of walking. Just idle wandering as you've seen people. You end up. I want to say you end up somewhere along the river here in the northeast corner of the town.
Okay.
Just this is where you were by people. This was the building that you met Reginald in, who then took you northwest of the forest. The one where he was all by himself. And behind it, there's just a nice the river that, the other end from the bridge where you had your test before and proved thine cleverness. And you're there, and that sensation has been growing. The sensation of something behind a door or something somewhere else, and you, as you're passing by, I would imagine, and then correct me or add to it, that from what you've described, Wayne would be kind of on guard. Is that accurate?
Yeah, he would definitely kind of want to figure out what's going on, because at this point, even despite his apparent surliness at times, Wayne is like secretly growing to kind of like this group, and so one of his first thoughts at this point would be like he would need to protect them if something off is happening here. So he would want to figure out what it was as soon as possible, if for no other reason than just to make sure that he can keep people safe from it.
Got it.
I'm sorry, I'm wrestling a dog off
Not a
screen
problem.
because bouncing around in my chair. That's why. So
The squeaky
Yeah,
toy just adds atmosphere. It's fine.
Yeah.
Did,
So as you're wandering, John, if that means that we need to pause or something, let me know.
I think it's okay.
Okay. As we were, oh hey, it changed. So as you're wandering, I get the impression you would go kind of toward the sensation. You're kind of investigating it. You're drawn closer to the river. You're behind that house, and you look over, and behind you, you see that in that house, the large, looked like it was the carpenter's building. The trying to. No, so as you're walking to it, because it's on the west side. So as you're walking to it, to keep with what we did last time, you see the door is ajar, and the sensation seems really strong at that doorway. When I say really strong, I mean relative to what it has been as you've been walking around. It's like, oh, it's not just a feeling. It is this general area. Give me one more perception check. You have found a thing. This is to see something else.
I love that. You have found a thing.
Yeah.
You found a door and it is open, and your sensations are there, and that's really it. Your focus is on that. Do you head toward it? Do you, now that you have a better bead on what's happening?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go and check it out.
Yeah. So you head toward the door. So we see Wayne. I'm going to have y'all each, because it's the 4th episode, describe yourself as we get into the next little bit, just so that I've got a better mental image, since this is such a visual episode instead of combat. So for Wayne, what does Wayne look like? So we see the camera behind this lone figure walking toward an abandoned house with an ajar door. Just all the get up, all the everything.
Well, obviously, at this point, he's wearing his cowboy hat.
Yeah.
That's important, which he very skillfully bargained for, or whatever we're going to call
Or
it.
Virgil.
Yeah. Talk someone out of. But Wayne would probably have a little bit of length to his hair, but not too much, because he's a wanderer, but also he's what's the word I'm looking for? He wants to keep things to where they're not in the way. He wouldn't want his hair to get in the way of anything he's doing. So like maximum shoulder length for his hair.
Yeah.
Yes, practical. He a little bit of maybe stubble from time to time, but for the most part, clean shaven. He would take care of that. Like a darker skin tone, obviously, kind of like mine. A little bit short, probably for an elf. Maybe even a little bit short for a human, like probably in the 5'9" range. I guess that's probably about average for a human, but a little short for his elven side. For the most part, he leans away from like accentuating his elven features. He would try to look more human because of his background, without going too much into that. He kind of stays away from the things that make him look elven. So a lot of times, except for right now, because he's wearing his hat, but his hair would probably hide his ears for the most part. And Other times you would see him wearing a hood along with his cape, or along with his cloak or whatever. He doesn't like looking too elven. A lot of the time, he would try to look more human. Most of the time when you see him, so it's kind of what you would expect from your wandering half elf adventurer.
So we see this, the figure, dark clothing, cowboy hat on, walking into not the sunset, but toward a dark house. Nobody there, with the clouds covering the sun, and everything is as the camera's watching, everything starts to fade and get a little bit darker. Meanwhile, inside the castle with candles, we have three that have decided that they, might want to investigate, might want to wait on Wayne, maybe some food. You see one of the rooms that you passed by, Atiye, in the hallway was maybe a little bit of a pantry, had some dried fruit, some things that you could nosh on. It's not a huge storage, but there's definitely enough that it seems to be meant for the people who live here. You didn't see a kitchen. This is just a small room. You don't know how they usually prepare things, but there is a place with some stuff, if y'all are looking for food, that you found on the way.
I would definitely mention that to our group. I'd be like, I found some morsels on my squirreling adventure. Just like a squirrel would, I found some dried fruit and nuts.
As
Excellent.
one does.
Yes.
Yeah. So y'all have some food. You probably bring it back out to the entryway, or do you bring it to the entryway, the big table that y'all were at with everybody, or to the small one on the side that's by your rooms?
I would probably eat it there.
Okay, so in the pantry.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally fine. So the three of y'all are in the pantry. You hear. Hold on, I'm thinking. Give me a luck check, Atiye. Whenever I say a luck check, what I just mean is you're rolling a d20. There's no stat to add. It's purely so that we have something to see what's happening here.
Okay. I think I know what I'm supposed to do. Did I do it?
There you go. Yeah, 14. So as y'all are sitting there eating, you don't notice anything, and you have a memory. As you were scrolling around, right? All like the same way that the food came back to you. As you were looking around, you would open a door and then you would shut a door. You would open a door and then you would shut a door. And you'd open a door and then you'd shut a door. And the audience can kind of hear the die rolling. And as it lands on a 14, you see that the last door shuts fully. At the same time, Wayne, you see a streak of silver light in the door. And by a streak of silver light, I don't mean like a lightning bolt. I mean like a what am I saying? It like something running fast is the best way to describe it. And it goes from the doorway into the building, and it was just one little light.
Can I reverse for just a second, because I'm terrible at describing people, and add something to what I just for reference for Wayne, he would also be like not particularly thin, but he wouldn't have any excess weight on him because he's a wanderer. He lives in the woods. He takes care of himself, so he would probably be like stringy muscular, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Like he would have the strength and dexterity that one gains from living out by oneself in the wilderness, so to speak. Yeah. And also that would add to part of why his skin tone would be a little bit darker, because he'd probably spend more time than an average person in the sun. So he would like I said, I'm terrible.
No, that's we'll do it again in episode 10 and then episode 20, and we'll redefine what we look like all the time.
So to give everybody who has a better mental capacity for visualizing things than me a better picture, that's for Wayne.
Well, anyway, the problem is you know who you are, right? So you're inside of Wayne. You don't care what he looks like. So you see the streak of light. We see you moving toward. The camera picks back up and sees you, and then sees that kind of, you almost doubt whether you saw it or not moment.
So I would think Wayne, at this point, has abandoned all caution, and he would probably just go to see if he could figure out where the light was coming from, or what it was that made that streak.
So as you head toward the doorway, you hear quick zipping noises. You hear. You would think maybe it would. It can't be walking. It can't be running. It's too fast. It can't be. There's not really anything that it can compare to. It's just this quick rush of wind and constant thudding. And as you get to the doorway, out past you speeds something about the height of your knee, and it is already gone. You can, if you want to try to physically stop whatever's coming towards you and passing you, make a dexterity saving throw, because you're trying to almost prevent it. Because it's not coming directly at you. You could also do an attack, but I think whichever one, however you're treating, if you're trying to catch it, dexterity saving throw. If you're trying to hit it with your fist or some such, then roll an attack. But yeah, you sense this thing that you saw go in is now about to whisk by you.
Okay. It's me catching it.
And so dexterity saving. So you get a handout, and you grab on. We see that it's almost like a bad DC, the Flash. You grab onto the arm of this little. I was gonna see if I could put just a picture to the screen, but I don't think that would work too well. It's a short silver. Wayne has never seen one before. A short silver has extreme features. You know, a long nose, very very curved cheeks, right? Very very animalistic, almost humanoid shape. And it's got this silver hair. And as you grab it with a 16, you're able to see it long enough. You've grabbed its arm. You see that it does look like a human, and it wiggles out and keeps going. And it is off like a light. And as it does, you hear that sensation that you were hearing in the background is actually building, as if the air is pregnant. Like there's this something but it is no longer localized where you are. It is kind of all around, so that like if you're by a light, right, you're there. But if the whole room is bright, you're in the middle of it. You can't see where the light is. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that. You're getting that sensation.
Okay.
You did see the general direction it went, but it is fully out of sight.
Right. So I would think I would probably try to go into town and see if I could maybe get some information out of someone in the town, see if anyone knows of anything unusual happening, or just generally talk to people and see what because since people were obviously feeling a little bit off earlier, maybe I can get somebody to spill a little bit of what's going on.
Okay. So you head towards town. As you're looking around, you're kind of looking for that look in an eye, or that stance of holding your body that says that they have an idea of what's going on. You give me another insight check, as you've been kind of living in it for a while, as you've been surrounded by this sensation. Okay, same.
Yeah,
So you can't tell what people are. With a 10, you get the impression that it's not clear to them, right? You're just seeing somebody whose behavior is different. So as you're walking around, you're seeing people. There are fewer people on the streets, as if more have gone, into their abodes. Some are still out carrying their stuff, but there are fewer people, and their body posture, their behavior doesn't scream something is weird and I know what it is, or even something is weird and I don't know what it is. Just you see that there is a difference in their behavior. So you can approach somebody and ask, but you don't see somebody that looks like they would have answers, just other people that you could try to puzzle it out with.
So these people are just probably kind of sensing the same the same otherness or whatever that I'm
You
sensing.
with the tent, you think that they don't even sense it. It's more like they're reacting to it but don't know it's there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm reversing my decision from earlier, but can I go back and look around the house more to see if there's any more clues around
Sure.
the,
So you're going to
was
head
it
back to the house.
carpenter's house?
Give me an investigation check while you head back there. Looks like we got a pause on the other side. So we'll keep here for a second. So go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting a low roll. One thing that I guess I haven't talked to y'all much about. Lauren's not here, so we can repeat it for her later. But the idea is, if you say, "Hey, I want to lift up that mountain," no strength check's ever going to work, right? And if you have somebody who's the best in the world at running, and you say, "Okay, well, give me an athletics check to see if you can cross the bridge fast enough," they're not going to, they could trip and fall. But even if the fastest person trips and falls, they'll still be in a race. So getting a 1, getting a low number doesn't always mean you get nothing. It just means you're getting all the obvious stuff. So as you walk in, you're looking for what is different, maybe in this moment or versus the other night. There is dirt all over the floor. You see little tiny, it's not hard to see them. There are definitely scuffle marks or footfalls where Reginald was, where Atiye and Caraf, who each went into the building, were. Caraf at least a little past the door, at least to the door. So you see like the footsteps of people, but you also see tiny, elongated footsteps that are, very clear to see, that are going up some stairs in it and that are going back to the back. It's almost like when my, dog in the yard and there's a path because they walk the same way every time.
Mhm.
And it's so much the same way every time that it is very clear footprints. And you can see that they're, they fit the size of the being you saw. So it has been running through here from the way it's laid out with investigation. You would with that investigation check, you'd probably think it was looking for something, or it was just having fun, just
Like a
doing its
dog.
speed thing.
But she said there were some stairs.
There were some stairs that went up, yeah. And in the back corner, as you've walked through, there's some stairs that go down. Like as you've looked, the stairs go down the steps, and it looks like a storage area. Maybe some place that they kept some of the wood. Maybe some place that they cut some of it, or who knows what. I don't know carpentry. And then the upstairs looks like it was perhaps once upon a time where somebody lived, so that they could manage their place. But nothing stands out in any of those. The footprints just keep going around, not quite the edge of the room, but close to, just running all the way around.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So as you're looking around, like I said, that sensation is growing a little bit fuller. The other three, I know that one is distracted for a moment with responsibilities and real life stuff. So I'm going to let the other two guide. What do the three of y'all do, who have probably by now finished noshing?
Yeah. Caraf looks around the pantry and says, "I wonder what Zane is doing, or what Wayne is doing."
It's nice
I'm kind of half there and here and there. So I'd probably be like, where is that guy? And I wonder if he brought any cider or mead or wine from town.
These are the important questions. I'm glad Zane is here to ask.
Yeah.
Atiye, who is small and young. I was trying to go into a description of myself just for fun, but then I
do it.
Okay,
I was going to
I'll do
invite y'all each to at some point. So if you do it on your own, all the better.
doing it. So Atiye is a young elf. She is attractive, for an elf, but she has weird features basically. So she has very, very pale hair, and then she has dark eyes that I described before being like a shark. So it almost looks like it's pitch black. So you almost can't tell the difference between her pupil and her eyes, which can sometimes make her look younger or kind of doughy eyed. But she's also at least in terms of her dress and like how she maintains herself, she tries to look tough. So she has basically like a lot of, elfin leather, clothing, and she keeps her bow and arrow on her back almost always, and she usually will have a knife somewhere on her body, a small dagger, and she usually just has, her hair braided down her back, for convenience, but it's definitely not brushed. It's definitely super frizzy. Although now with the treatment, it is less frizzy, and she did obviously take it out of the braid for that. So yeah, it's very long. It's basically like to her hips, just because she has lived in the wilderness for a long time. Like while she was applying the ointment, there's maybe some twigs or a couple bugs that she like noticed that she let go. And yeah, she in general looks generally like a sweet young elf, but I think she uses that to her advantage. Kind of this like underestimation of who she is, because she's learned a lot of kind of defense skills or hunting skills, gathering skills from being out in the wilderness.
Yeah. Quick question: what are her clothing? Because I don't
Yes.
know off the top of my head, and I could imagine a couple of different things with it. What does her clothing generally look like?
Yes. So I'd say she is at this point basically made all of her clothing from animals that she's killed. So it's kind of, the suede leathery stuff.
Okay.
And for the most part, it's just, leather, um, leather pants, leather, like a leather vest, leather jacket, like, or like, the animal hide, not
Right.
like nice leather, but
Right.
yeah. It's basically
Okay.
monotone suit.
So at a glance, hunter elf.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not okay. Cool. Perfect. Um, so the three of y'all have finished eating, and a question was asked about Wayne, and it's about now that you, with no perception check, y'all can hear a thud, some kind of noise in the background. It's not very well defined, from the direction of those spiral stairs.
Almost did, John.
I
That was
know.
awesome.
That's what I was like.
I
Did
tried.
you?
A little bit of Foley for fun.
It was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
In the direction of the spiral stairs, you hear something.
So Atiye basically turns to the group and is like basically with her eyes being like, let's go.
Yeah, that's who that's about. Yeah, it's a bit such a clatter.
Yeah. So the such a clatter corporation. So as you head down the hallway, the three of you, who would take the lead on? Is this Atiye, since she's already been that way? Does she?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And Atiye still has her weapons on her. I don't know if the other two, because they were like soaking, but yeah. So she's also pulled out like a weapon.
Cool.
She's ready.
Okay.
So just so everybody knows, Zane probably is not carrying weapons with him most of the time, unless he's dressed to go out on an adventure or something like that. But because he knows so many spells and stuff, that wouldn't necessarily be something that would make him feel uncomfortable. He seems very he's
weapon.
ready. He is the weapon. Yes.
You mean Zane's behavior doesn't change when danger's around?
Right.
Not
I am
outwardly.
I am shocked. So as the three of y'all head down the hallway, passing shut doors left and right, you make it to the staircase. You go down the spiral staircase toward where the well was, and you see the door that had the one big ring on it slightly ajar.
Okay.
And you're certain that you had shut it, but maybe it bounced back open. Maybe it didn't close. Maybe something was in the way. One of those, like when the lock's out and it closes, but it didn't close. And you hear the sounds of a scuffle inside. Opening the door, you look inside and you see four figures. Two are short. They're all short. Two of them are what's the word I'm looking for? Two of them are blue-toned, squatter in nature. They're all about up to a knee, maybe up to a thigh. Whereas what Wayne saw was, silver and fast and lightning. What you're seeing is blueberry,
Smurf-like.
but Smurf, but spoiled Smurf. You're seeing a
Oh,
dark, bruised
nice.
Smurf. It's not. It's got skin that hangs a little bit loosely all about it, and it's got. They're not wearing battle gear, but they are wearing some kind of clothes, and they've got sticks, and they're swinging those sticks. Ironically, the sticks have. It seems perfect. The sticks have little axe heads because they're tiny, and they're
Oh.
fighting against tiny tree people that do not look like what you saw last time when you were. Excuse me. What somebody else saw last time.
Right.
That were twig blights. These look like short, thick protectors. Atiye, give me a history or nature check, whichever one's better.
And history or nature. Okay. So I remember for last time it was like Atiye would know about tree blights, so she would know
Yeah.
that this is not a tree
You
blight.
would know that this is
Okay.
not a tree blight.
Look at me saying the word.
You got it. With a 14, you recognize these from those that you lived with most recently. They taught you of them.
Okay.
The wooden things, they look. Whereas the twig blights are like a tiny, skinny Groot, long, thin, scratchy kind of Groot mixed with praying mantis, long, sharp. These are kind of like short, squat Groot. They've got legs that are like tree trunks. They've got arms, one of which looks like a shield. The other one looks like a club. And you recognize these as wood woads. They were created by different creatures in nature at different times to be nature's protectors. They're not good per se, but they're lawful. Their job is to protect nature as it is, and yeah, that could be it. It could be a little bit like the mandrakes from Harry Potter. Just grow them up a little bit and give them better limbs. Yeah. And it's so it looks like these four are in a fierce battle. I'm gonna show you the camera because this is our first time and y'all are new, and so I'm just gonna try to show it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So this is what you see.
Oh yeah,
fighting with this.
It is Groot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you see two of them fighting each other from the blue ones, and just silence from the trees, just the sound of thuds and nature almost emanating from it. So you see these going at it. From your point of view, it honestly seems comical. Like they seem like they're in a fight to the death, but from the perspective of much larger beings who can see how ineffective they are,
yeah,
they're going to hit each other for a while before anything happens. So that's what you see, and they're doing it around the well.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The well again is taller than they are because the well is hip height. They're knee height, so it's not like they're dancing around in danger. They're just near a wall.
Caraf wonders if they were to try to break up the fight, how that would go.
Give me an insight check.
Ooh.
17. You feel like I'm almost picturing Minions, comical, right? If you separated the blue ones, you could see them still trying, but ineffectively doing much. They don't seem, powerful enough to be a huge trouble at the moment. They're probably as powerful as one of those, giant rats that you fought before. Y'all could handle it, but they seem, with a 17 insight, they seem very focused on the wood woads. They do not seem like they are going to be swayed from their target. It's almost like, with a 17, you can tell it's like they haven't even noticed you are there, despite the presence of 3 people thrice their size, quadruple their size coming in. They're still just focused on their battle.
Gotcha.
So Atiye would definitely mention, just in case, like the other people in our group don't know, that what are they called again?
The wood woad. WOAD.
Wood woes?
Wood woad. I'll type it.
Woodrow. Okay.
Wood woad.
Wood woad. Okay. This is gonna be hard. You're very talented. Wood woad. This is like a tongue twister. So she turns to the group and she says, "Wood woads are generally lawful protectors, I'm basically just taking your words.
That's you
yeah.
get to do that. They're
Okay,
your words.
good. Yes.
They're
So
your words.
the wood woes are natural, lawful protectors of nature, and yeah, like if she has any other history with them or insights about them, she would mention that, like, you know, they've been around for X amount of time, like just so that they know
Yeah.
she's
You'd
favoring the wood
mentioned
woes.
they were so what you would know this because it was they are respected among
Okay.
the folk from which you came.
Nice.
They are spirits that cared about nature, that gave up their lives to become eternal protectors, so that they will
Aw.
live on forever as not for I mean they can still die, but
Yeah.
they will live on as this tree spirit to protect nature.
Okay. Then yeah, definitely in that case, I would tell that to the group, you know, and basically persuade them that, like, we should help the wood woes. We don't have to, you know, kill the other things, but like I know you mentioned it's not like it's a comical kind of thing, but just like,
Mhm.
you know, let's wrestle up the two evil
Sure.
Smurfs, and like can they communicate, the evil Smurfs?
They haven't. They're making
Oh, they're
unintelligible noises, but
Okay.
nothing that you would attribute to words or language.
Yeah. So
Let me rephrase. They're speaking probably something that's not a language you would know. Y'all are welcome to tell me what languages you know to see if you do.
Elfish.
I think I've just got common, dwarvish, and elvish. Common, dwarvish, and elvish. Yeah.
Okay. No.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
I think
yeah.
I've
So
got one more than that, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
let me put it this way: is it goblin or undercommon?
No, unlikely no.
Then it's not these.
Oh, hint, they're goblins.
Ooh.
They can
So-
speak goblin. They are familial.
Nice.
So Caraf tries to intervene. Caraf
Yeah.
goes to pull one of the minions off the wood woad.
So give me if you muscle in what's the world dungeon world, different RPG system than Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of times they say, you know, tell me what you're doing, and that determines what your role is. So you're going in to try to intervene. Are you trying to intervene, like quickly grabbing one before something happens, or are you just muscling your way in?
Quick. I see them both the same.
Like-
Where I'm trying to muscle in so I can get them off the wood woad. I'm not
I'm phrasing it as: are you trying to strength get them or dexterity? Are you trying to like dexterously grab one before, or are you trying to like I'm going to get in the way and grab them? Strength. Okay.
Yeah.
So
going strength. Yeah.
Caraf muscles their way over and they're ready to grab at one. Just give me a strength check.
You got it. And that
they're
is
quite small and very focused on something else, so do it with advantage.
Oh, with advantage. Okay. With advantage, it will be aha.
That's funny.
So,
Yeah.
You successfully get one. It feels. Imagine grabbing a small wriggling dog. Also imagine that dog is made of cotton candy almost. It's almost ethereal. It's almost like there's too much give at the borders. So you're holding this thing and it's there, but it's almost like it's not really there. And as you're holding it tightly, you can easily, with a 14 and this thing's strength of -1 bonus, you can easily, maintain it. And it is wildly struggling against you, but it is one of the weirdest sensations Caraf has ever felt, because it is not a solid, easily tangible thing. Something about it isn't wholly there. And the wood woad that this one was fighting just steps back and is holding the stick in its arm. The shield is in front. So
Oh wow.
its job is done. It doesn't need to do anything. It's there to protect, not to attack. Do you do anything once you have it?
I hang on to it. I turn to the group. I say, I didn't think beyond this point.
Right.
Atiye said the wood thing was good, and I just
Wood woad.
What do I do?
The wood woad is a fierce protector of nature. So Atiye also tries to grab the other one, because there's only two of them, right? Two wood woes and two. Okay, yeah. So she's gonna try to do it also with strength, even though she's not the strongest, just because she really cares for the woodwolves.
Sure.
So should I just do it with normal and not advantage?
No, for the same. It is
Okay.
distracted and much smaller.
Ooh.
So with a 21, you grab the other one, and it similarly is writhing, and it's trying to get out.
Great
And
sound.
their eyes, despite you holding them, are fully focused on the wood woads that are
Yeah.
perfectly standing still. You also get this weird sensation of
Like,
I'm holding something, but is it? It's like a cloud. It's there and it's not. Something in. I would say right now, give me a wisdom check, not a wisdom saving throw, just a wisdom check, not advantage. I'm kind of using this as a proxy for
Wait, I forget how to do the not.
the farthest left. The farthest
Okay.
left is the not save.
Nice. You understood. Ooh.
16, good.
Does
Caraf,
John?
did you-
Or yeah.
yeah, Caraf also did.
Oh, also do it.
Because you're holding the
Wiggly.
things.
Of course.
There. With 10. Okay, so Atiye, you get as you're struggling with this, especially with your background, you get the idea that this is they are not fully here. There is something about these that are like what you are holding is the part of them that is here, and the rest of them is not fully, and that's why it feels weird.
Okay.
And from you heard nothing about this with in the past, but extrapolating, you kind of get the feeling that it's like
Being puppeted.
Say it again.
I said it's like being puppeted, like the.
That's a good way to put it. It does have that idea of being puppeted, but it's more like between planes. Like there's something about it that makes you think of planes because
Okay, yeah.
like
Yeah.
you've met with and dealt with the Feywild. There's something. It's like it's here, but also in another place at the same time. There's something weird happening.
Okay, that's really cool. Yeah.
So y'all are doing that. Wayne has gone back to the house and was investigating around, and saw the tracks that were leaving. What did Wayne then do?
I think Wayne, feeling that he's pretty much exhausted any investigating he can do here, would probably decide to head back to the castle, but not before stopping at the pub for a drink. And
Right before you go ahead.
so he might feel nice and decide to take something back for his new friends, having nothing to do with what Zane said earlier, just because.
Of course not, because he doesn't know Zane said that.
I don't know that.
I want you to give me a perception check. It's a pretty easy DC, but you're thinking of ale and such. There's a chance you're just too focused.
Caraf gets a hint of good vibes for unknown reasons.
Oh wow.
So with a 20, as you're heading toward it, you hear the distant sounds of some kind of fighting, thuds. Excuse me. Slams. Nothing that sounds like metal on metal, but you do hear a fight breaking out somewhere in town.
Somewhere in town.
Yep, nearish to you.
Oh. Have I gone to get my drink yet?
No, you are
Do I
by
have my
the pub. You could go into the pub. That's fine. I'm just letting you know you heard it. The DM is never forcing you to do a thing. I'm telling you what's happening. If Wayne is like, yeah, I'm going to get it and head back, and I'll tell them about the fight, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think Wayne would pass up a chance to check out a good fight. He'd go see what was going on.
It doesn't seem like he would, to be honest.
Yeah.
It does. I didn't think he would, but I mean, it just depended on if you heard it or not. So as Wayne checks behind the pub, so looking back at the map, right? You were coming from up here. It's as you're hitting here, just north of the pub, that you hear over toward the river some thuds, and right here behind the pub, right. This is not just a 2-foot distance. That's a decent field. You see a large green, slimy, for for best words, you probably would call it an ogre or a troll or something. I don't know if Wayne. Do you think Wayne's ever seen either of those
Um,
in their travels?
I don't feel like an ogre or troll or things that Wayne would have run
Totally,
into.
yeah. Well, like I believe that you have a family that was adventurers, so I didn't know if you felt you would have heard stories of. So you get so you see a large green humanoid seaweed and kelp kind of dangling off of it, looks wet, and around it are 5 or 6 little quick things that are running in and stabbing it and running back out. And so you see this thing, and it's stomping left and right, and it's swinging at him, and it's swinging, and it's get away.
So
Get
good.
away, quick, please. And it's just swinging back and forth, and that's what you see. It is taller than you are, and they are, of course, knee height, as mentioned earlier. They're not organized. They're just a group of 4 to 6 things running around.
So, I don't know. Wait.
You can go get a beer and come watch, right? You could go see it. You could intervene, or you could just head back.
Yeah, I think Wayne would probably watch for a second to see what was developing, not knowing anything about either of these types of creatures that he's looking at. He wouldn't have any basis on which to intervene for one side or the other, so he'd probably just sit back and see what happened.
Do you think that you get close enough for them to notice you, or do you think you're staying like, I barely see them and I stop?
No, I think Wayne would try to stay out of sight. That would
Perfect.
be his instinct.
It just continues. Zip, 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 stabs, and then no. That's all that's happening. Just on nonstop. Neither one seems to be gaining ground.
Okay. I think at this point, Wayne would go into the pub and say, so, there's some weird things fighting outside. Has anyone else noticed the weird fight outside?
Yeah, as is customary when you walk into a pub, right? There's tons of people around, and you say that, and the first one to make eye contact with you, of course, is the bartender. He says, "Oh yeah, that's Terrence. Terrence is trying to stop them little things. I don't know what's happening, but Terrence is working on it.
Terrence is the big one.
Yeah, Terrence is the big one. Yeah, we all love Terrence here. Terrence is the best. You don't see him very often, but when he comes by, he's pretty nice. Bit slow, but that's just because he's so big. It's hard to be fast when you're big.
So we all trust in Terrence's abilities to fight the 6-ish whatever's those are.
I have no idea. I've never seen them little things before. I just know that Terrence, what can I do? I could pour him some beer. I don't think I'd stop them. If they drank it, then they might start wobbling while they're running, but I don't think they stop to drink it.
All right.
Yeah, Terrence. Are you new here? You must be one of them new Titans, huh? Are you one of them?
I must be.
Yeah, you must be. I thought so. I see, you bartend long enough. You know everything about a town. And if I don't know a thing about a town, it must be part of the new thing in town.
Except for the things outside.
Right.
Well,
We don't know about those.
we all have our limits. That was one of them.
So should
You
I
have me there, good sir. I did not think that far.
should I help Terrence? Do you think he might need some help? Yeah.
He's been around for a few years. He's probably good, but if you want it, I can't stop. Maybe. This is what we call here among us non-Titan folk. We call this Titan business. And what that means is we don't touch it because we can't do that stuff.
Right.
They do that stuff.
If you would just pour me an ale and hold it, I'm gonna go and see if I can lend a hand to Terrence.
Yeah, of course. I'll get you one here. Yeah, it's your first one in town. Yeah, you get one for free. How about that?
That sounds great. I'll be right back for that.
Yeah, you tell him Sandy sent you.
Will do, Sandy.
Of course, yeah.
Wayne tips his hat to Sandy and heads to help Terrence. So heading back out to see Terrence. I assume the fight is pretty much in the same place as we left it.
Same kind of stalemate. Do you get close enough for him to see you now?
Yes.
Still saying
I think knowing sort of at least whose side I'm supposed to be on at this point, I would probably announce myself to Terrence and say, "Hey, Terrence, I'm a new Titan. Need a hand?"
As he's swinging, a hand, yes. Me big hand. You smart man. You
Oh.
did puzzle. I saw you do the puzzle.
Hmm.
You stop them.
Right.
And he swings, and he's always just after them. They're way too fast for his hands. He tries to get it in the way, and they just zip over it.
I'll see what I can do, Terrence. Since these things are really fast, I wonder if maybe I shouldn't try to. I wonder if a bow, or if it would be better to just go in, like swinging.
Your instinct is that it would be you've maybe shot a bird before or something fast moving far, and it's really hard, and these are faster. So you think a sword might be your best bet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna pull out ye old scimitar. And,
so we say Wayne pull out a scimitar as he heads toward a spiraling silver mess around a large lumbering green thing. The other three are holding
right.
squirrely little blue fuzzball. Not fuzzballs. They're not fuzzy at all. I don't know where I got with that, but that's what we call the pup, right? Fuzzball. So
Yeah.
Snarling little blue things. Zane, of course, can just see it, and there's two woodwoads, and your two companions are holding two blue things. Glorious.
I'm sure he would be so entertained by the sight. I don't know that it would actually dawn on him to interfere in any way, because he just kind of
having too much fun.
They're just
tilts his head like this.
While they're struggling, they can't hear it because they're there's a loud noise near their ears. Zane hears from back the direction you came another thud. And then slow, lumbering steps. And that's it. You just hear that somewhere in the castle.
Oh, just in the castle, not from any particular direction?
I mean, so y'all are at the bottom of the spiral staircase. So it would be back up the stairs, because it's the only room at the bottom. So it'd be back up the stairs and probably that hallway y'all were in or higher.
Oh, that music, just perfect timing on that.
I know.
Yeah, I did so good.
You nailed that.
It's been on loop almost the whole time. I just switch it once in a while.
That was perfect. We all know you did that on purpose.
I timed the past hour and 32 minutes out to nail that one.
Down to that 1 second, right?
You knew. That's a DM magic.
It is. Hey.
Gold star.
Dungeons, magic, and the dragon time. It's the fun. Everybody does the magic stuff.
Magic for you. Magic for you.
Good. So Zane, what do you do with this knowledge? Do you just continue to watch the show? Or?
Okay.
I'm trying to think about his Zane's state of mind right now. To be honest,
I agree, because I can guess what the other three are doing sometimes, and I've got some situations I think I can predict Zane. But in this, I have no clue. I'm waiting to see what happens on the show.
It's gonna be a zany outcome.
Oh snap!
Oh
that has to go in the
I need a soundboard.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll leave.
All right.
Clip that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kick Wayne.
So, okay. I think. Okay. Give me a little bit. Tell me what time of day it is again, because I've kind of lost track of how much time has passed.
Y'all are in you actually with the spa, with the herbs in the air, the joy, the taking care of your hair, the snacking. You've been inside a castle and not seen really a window the entire time. So as you were in the entryway, you saw that it was dark, but you don't know what time it is. It's thinking back now that you're calling it to mind. It was darker than it should have been, unless you must have been in there for a long time. So Zane either thinks that it's darker than it should be, or it's later than it should be.
Okay. So it's either darker than it should be or later than it should be. That's that we. Okay.
Yeah, one of those two.
Oh, gonna go
Your
grab a
choice,
drink.
which?
Great idea. Okay. And we're down, like, are we still like down in the basement area?
Yeah, so
Or are we
after
in like the
seeing
entryway
Wayne,
to the house?
so after
I'm just
seeing
trying to make sure
Wayne
we're in the right place.
fighting, the camera
Mhm.
kind of pans over the town, back to the southwest, past the trees. It swoops and it passes through the large large wooden door at the front of the castle, through the door that Urban went through the first night. So it passed both sets of bedrooms on the sides, and it goes down the hallway. We see the open door where you were eating at the pantry, and it passes over, you can't quite tell what, and then it makes it all the way to the end of the hall where it goes down the stairs, spiraling down, and at the bottom of the stairs is one door and one room with y'all and this well.
This music is really great right now.
Appropriately spooky.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how intentional the music choice was, but like amazing job on that.
It was it's one of those things where it's like, to them it's literally the next day from what could have been, the summer, but to me it's almost Halloween, so it fits.
Oh yeah.
It fits
Yeah.
my mood.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last question I have are how limited are my options really here?
Unlimited. You're you.
I know I'm
You see two wooden things doing nothing, standing and looking at two blue things in your friend's arms who are struggling to get at the wooden things and ignoring the people holding them entirely. You hear somewhere back, and so by logic it has to be above you, a thud, and then a few smaller thuds that you would interpret, I would say, as kind of heavier. They have weight to them, but whether it's a narrative weight or a physical weight, I do not know.
Wordplay.
I'm trying to separate my brain from what Zane would be experiencing, because I think me personally would be overwhelmed by everything that was going on around me at that moment.
There's a lot, yeah.
So
that could be what Zane does. I'm fine with that.
It could be what he does. It really could. Okay, how dark is it?
Y'all
is it pretty well lit, or is it like actually like really dark in the hallway?
This is the kind of stuff I never think about until you ask a real reasonable question.
Yeah.
The inside of the castle, the hallway was lit, and I think what attracted Atiye to coming down the stairs the first time was there's one candle, one torch, and a sconce at the bottom of the stairs, like on, how the spiral staircase usually has a cylinder in the middle that the stairs actually spiral around.
Yeah.
And so there's one sconce on that at the bottom, and then the door. And when you go in the door and you see the well, there's probably two sconces, one on each side. So there's two torches in the room you're in, and one behind you, but there's no visibility to outside. So you're in torchlight in the dark in a basement.
Okay. So I can see probably just fine because I have night vision effectively. But I would probably be wondering if a startling appearance of some kind of light may cause some kind of change in the situation of the, I guess, tussle, I'll call it. I don't know what else to call it. The tussle that's going on.
Yeah. Tiny tussles.
I'm gonna do a little magic trick, and we're gonna put in between the two people that are holding the wood woads that are struggling or whatever. We're gonna do a little shower of sparks, and say, "Hey, by the way, there's some loud thuds upstairs."
Nice.
So y'all are
just
struggling
puts a little shower of sparks there.
Things, and then a shower of sparks. What does it? Because we've done combat stuff. What does it look like when Zane is not stressed and is going to do a magic thing? Is it very performative, or is it just matter of fact?
So I don't think that he would necessarily want to be the center of attention. This would more be like he would kind of flick his wrist and then kind of scoot out of the way a little bit. As
Wonderful.
if,
and as the light
don't
leads
turn
you,
all your attention to me, but it probably wouldn't, because it would it may be on the sparks instead. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and as the light
But-
leaves you, the attention is drawn away from you. So you've
Yeah.
probably perfected this for this exact moment when you want somebody's attention, but you
Yeah.
also want to press back. So
It
so
would
Zane,
be a little performative, yeah.
if the camera is watching, is very here's a craftsperson who give me a performance check while you're doing it.
Sure.
Who flings their wrist, and out from it comes these lights that head perfectly in between Atiye and Caraf, who are holding their thing. So it's just normal good. It's not like fantastic good. It's just normal good. And the lights fling out, and because the brightness heads up there, the two blue things, as the light heads toward them, they holding them, you don't need to make any kind of check. They feel less solid and they look almost see-through as the light passes. So let me read prestidigitation. Does it appear and stay, or does it instantaneous? So then it's going to disappear, I think. Yeah.
I mean, it does say instantaneous, so it's not gonna be like it stays there for several seconds. It'll be there and kind of
But
be
it's
a fleeting
cantrip
thing,
that can repeat. So I guess my question to you is: do you want this to be a light that's going to kind of sustain and keep popping, or do you want it to be a one-time and then it gets dark again?
Let's do like 3 or 4 seconds of popping, and then it kind of goes away.
Yeah. So as it's popping, you're holding these, and they're disappearing and reappearing, and then by the time the light stops, they're back to their semi-solid form that you're already used to. And by now they give me what would be you're physically sensing something about them. So it could be perception. It could be I'd let it be like constitution, because you've been holding on to them. One of those two. Has to do with how long you've sustained this thing.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Damn.
Yeah. So you can both tell that they are surprisingly not tiring at all. You've been in wrestling matches in your life. You've done whatever. So Atiye, you're not getting tired, but you can tell that if this was to continue, you would get tired before this thing ever would. And with your perception, you can feel that it has not stopped pressing in any way, shape, or form. It has not slowed down at all.
Yeah.
And so it kind of fades and then reappears, as Zane tells you that there's some thudding upstairs.
So I would let go of mine because there's no point in holding it. Like I'm not doing much, and I believe that the wood can defend the well or whatever else it is defending. I think I have an idea that it might be defending the well, since that they seem to be like in the well area, and I don't know what the well goes to, but it's just like an idea. But like regardless, I think that it sounds like there's a much more urgent threat. And I do mention that it seems like they become like these minions seem to disappear in the light. I'm letting mine go. Heads up.
I like that you raise your voice as you say it, because as you let yours go, it renews and it goes back, and you hear the thudding against the wood as it's fighting, and it's like hitting play on a DVD. Immediately, the wood is going back at it. It's just back to square one.
Yeah.
Caraf's yours is still struggling. And Atiye has let hers go.
So Caraf, do the Woodwodes, do they speak common?
They have not even verbalized they have not verbalized in any way yet. They have not acknowledged anything you've said. Atiye would have known, so she might have mentioned that they don't communicate by any normal means.
Okay. I too acknowledge that the big thud sounds scarier than the tiny thing that the Woodwode can take care of, and so recognizing him in a danger, I do let my thing go, but I do start looking around for a more permanent light solution so we can have this taken care of and maybe get these Woodwodes on our side for whatever is coming from upstairs.
Yeah.
There's nothing physical in the room beyond the well and the two torches. They've both, while they've been going around, passed near. They both passed near torches, close enough that you think if you were to pick them up, put torches near them, that wouldn't maybe make a difference. So you would need something magical or something that you brought with you in the time it takes to, start a fire, a light or a fire or something.
And the wood was to catch fire. The wood would catch fire, I assume.
I mean,
Yeah, potentially.
you
Is
don't
there
know
any-
how wood they are.
That's true.
Is there anything in my alchemist supplies that could produce a semi-permanent light near enough?
I wouldn't say a semi-permanent, but you probably have over your travels, since you've collected so many different things, you probably have like 2 one-use bright light. I'm picturing something in the real world like phosphorus, and how it would. Is that a realistic, or like one of the like
Like flare.
an emergency flare kind of thing? You would have one thing that would be like a contained flare. Excuse me. You have 2 things that would be like a contained flare, but they're one-time uses that you've carried with you in your travels.
Okay. So the one-time use stinks because I know we're going to face more powerful foes in the future, and the Woodwood seem like they've got this taken care of. So I am concerned about what's coming from upstairs, but I've played enough Legend of Zelda to know that the thing that came first will be connected to the thing that comes second.
Nothing's connected ever.
So I curse myself for having to do it and know that I'm going to regret it later, but I do go ahead and use one of my one-time use
Great, yeah.
light things to get
So
this Woodward
you
on our
so you
side.
bartered for this. This was part of your past as a trader, and it was one of the few things that you kept for yourself. How do you activate this? What does it look like? What in John's mind? What is it that Caraf has that he can twist, flare, spark something to cause it to?
I pull from my bag a single tiny marble, and I've got my what is the creature, the baddie that we're holding, or the creature?
You don't know their names yet, but if you give me
Okay.
I'm just gonna say an Arcana or a. I don't think nature is appropriate for them. 1 second.
Can I do
turned
it
page.
too?
Yes. So Arcana, because they are not natural creatures, or religion. Arcana or religion.
Ooh,
Nice.
my rolls
Yeah.
are turning up.
I take out my little marble and I whisper a song to it, and as I whisper, it begins to like soften like cotton candy, and it begins to kind of illuminate and begin to just kind of like spread out,
Yeah.
and it's just a ball of floating magical white light.
Yeah, and so it's still a physical thing in the middle, but the light goes beyond your hand, and so it's just swirling around, and you can bring it over toward or roll it toward. Atiye, as you see them brighten up in the light, you recognize them as Svarts.
Varts?
Svarts.
Sparts.
Svarts.
Svarts.
Oh. But
Sparts.
if I say Sparts, which is not what you're saying, does it sound
I'm
like?
saying I'm trying to overpronounce the X at the start. So it's
I'm just
not
saying
Svart, it's
Sparts.
Svarts. You can say Svart all you want. You can say
It sounds
Svart.
close enough. I am
say
saying that. I'm
blueberry.
saying S-Fart. But
I'm
like,
saying
I think it works.
Svart. So I'm very we're agreed.
Yeah.
We'll call it a linguistic difference from regions, right? Your dialect would pronounce it Svart.
We know Atiye has a very unique dialect from
That's true.
Wayne's name.
Yeah. So these are Svarts. They are created by an evil god. They are malicious, chaotic, evil. They try to destroy things they can. They will sacrifice anything for themselves. One of the weirdest things that gets mentioned about them when you had learned about them from forest peoples was that they can't reproduce. They are made. Each one of them is made very Smurf-like, as was mentioned earlier. They can't do. And so that means that they are all very protective of their lives, right? So they will make any bargain or whatever to keep their lives. But these don't seem to match the story of what you've seen because they are not acting in any intelligible way. They are just maddeningly angry. Gonna get this thing, and you don't know why.
Yeah.
So as you bring the light over, they turn into almost ghosts. You see the same body doing things. The woodwode also starts to fade a little bit, but not as much. So as the light gets close, you're maybe hesitant at first because the woodwode's good. But as you get closer, they don't turn into pure cotton candy. They don't disappear into a cloud. So it looks most like a tiny Groot fighting against a ghost of a Svart.
That's
and
so adorable.
What's probably weird as you're watching it that is hard to reconcile is that while they are fighting, you are seeing the thuds between a hand or a stick and the wood and the tiny hatchet, they're just as solid of connections as they were when they looked like solid beings. So
Yeah.
the sounds and the almost visceral feeling you're getting when there are hits don't line up with what your eyes are seeing. But as you're holding it there, they're fading further and further. And Zane, because you're not focused on this, you hear another thud, thud. So as this has progressed, because it took a while to shine the light, thud,
Oh
thud.
no.
Right? So you're
Yeah.
hearing more thuds coming from somewhere else. That being said, the sparks are getting more and more faded, and as they're about to blink out, the camera stops right before you can see it completely finish, and we see a Wayne heading toward a Terrence, surrounded by white things, who has just offered a hand.
Nice.
And has his scimitar ready to.
Yep, has his scimitar ready, and what does he do?
I'm just gonna go for the closest one, I suppose. He's trying to do what he can to help. So
I think so. Give me an intelligence check. Yeah, just roll intelligence.
oh yeah, that's okay.
16? Great. So as you're watching it, you've been in, sparring battles, not a lot of full scale like war battles, but you've seen and you've heard stories. So you progress, you see these 5, 6, was it 4? They're just moving so fast it's hard to tell, surrounding this tall green, dripping with seaweed. You see them heading toward it, zipping in and a stab and then back out. You haven't seen him or it react in any way to to being stabbed, but in that moment, you know how when you throw a ball right at the top, it kind of pauses before it comes back down. It's like that when they're stabbing. So for that brief moment, you can see almost a full picture and the knife, and then they back out. And so it's a blur and then a stab and then blur again. So as they're doing that, you're progressing, and with the 16 intelligence, you get the idea that the best thing to do is honestly going to be kind of swing your sword wildly in an area where you think that they're about to head in, because they're just they're moving so quickly in every direction that you're not necessarily going to be able to predict them, but if there's something sharp in their way, that would be bad for them. So give me an attack roll with disadvantage. So you swing it, and you know that you have hit this thing, but somehow it still zips by, right? So it's blurriness. You almost feel like you hit an after image, or maybe a pre-image of before it was there. So you swung and you missed, but in that swing, in order to get around you, this quick zip had to slow down or divert its path, and you see one big fist, boom, hit the thing, and it goes flying, and there's a streak of silver that goes the other way. So by deterring it, you have put it in a place where accidentally Terrence hit one. And he says, "No, you knew you were the smart one." And so then you continue this, right? You're just trying to swing at them, and either you hit them or he does. You don't manage. Give me just a pure D20 check.
As I try to remember the command for type. Oh, hello.
It is /roll 1d20. I put a space in front. Oh, weird. I put a space in, it still didn't matter. There we go. Okay, a 20.
Nice.
You manage to get 3 of them, and as you do, you get a solid hit on 3 of them. As you do, you stabbed very few things, in the middle of combat. You've stabbed things while hunting. You've stabbed things to survive. But stabbing at a swift thing that's going at a giant thing that you haven't seen, you're expecting it to be like it impales itself on it, and all you feel is a tiny slice of something physical, and then that's enough for it to leave. As you're in the middle of the fight, you look at your scimitar, and it never got any blood on it of any kind. I'm not even going to make you make a check for this. You feel like you have deterred them rather than physically, preventing him. Like, oh, I got hurt. Why would I stay here and do this? I'm gonna leave. So between that, you and Terrence, you finally see the very last one as Terrence stomps down and lands on one, and he says, "Thank you. That was the hand I needed. I am Terrence. You are Smart One."
Wayne is what most people call me, but Smart One will do if that's what you prefer.
Well, you solved the riddle at my bridge,
Oh.
so
Well,
you must be Smart One. I was listening.
Well, Terrence, I believe we've won.
I think we did. We should go have a drink. And he picks you up.
Agree more.
And he picks you
Aw.
up and he walks toward the river.
Oh.
And he
the-
goes and he said, "I'm just going to have some river water. How does that sound to you?"
I have a drink waiting the other way at the
Oh,
the pub.
of course.
I don't drink rivers. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I mean,
Terrence.
you probably do. I mean, by the course of your life, just think of how much you've had to eat.
I'm a lot smaller than you, Terrence. A mug would be great.
We will debate the philosophy of your lifetime consumption another day.
Nice.
For now, proceed to town and tell Sandy Terrence says hi.
Thank you, Terrence.
Of course.
I love
If
Wayne's response.
you need me, please return to my bridge, which is over down the river. I will be there later.
Duly noted.
I have a job for you. I am why they hired you.
Ooh.
Something is happening, and I need frankly, your ability to go places, because I'm kind of stuck here. So,
Well, Terrence,
come
I
back
can
later.
truthfully say this is the most interesting thing that's happened to me in the past few days.
Really?
But I'm gonna go
I
have
would
that
have
drink
thought
now.
meeting the gnome wizard was quite fantastical. I've heard of him.
I thought he was a little overrated, honestly, Terrence.
Well, he is his own hype man, so it's hard.
That's great.
It's hard to when that's your lifestyle. He just likes the explosions. They're very exciting.
Terrence, are you sure you don't want to come back to the castle with me? It's great.
Oh, I would love to, but again,
Aw.
I am stuck at my bridge. I am a poor troll. Not a poor troll, and you can tell as he says it that he's had to explain this many times. I am not a poor troll because I have no things. I have no things, and so I am poor. But I am a poor troll because I am born of the portal of the in-betweens. That bridge is my bridge, and I belong to the in-betweens of that side and this side. This long, kelp-covered arms you're pointing. You're still dripping.
Well, Terrence, this has been a blast. I will bring the rest of the Titans back to see you as soon as possible.
Oh, no blasts, please.
That was great. Also, I feel like Terrence and Wayne are best friends.
Definitely.
Terrence
And I
thinks
love-
so too. Yes.
I think that's a definite possibility. I still
Of
have
course.
a drink to go get.
As you leave, as Wayne walks away, Terrence says, "I think the hat looks better on you than on Virgil."
Terrence, I think you are the smart one.
Yes, I am. Just wait till you see. I am. And he stomps into the water, and as he goes far enough into the river that it covers his tall head, the bubbles stop, and he's who knows where. And you make your way into the pub, and I've fully forgotten Sandy's voice. Hi, Larry. So think of something like this. I don't know. So, what is it that you and Terrence take care of the problem? Did you get it done? Did you just finish those little things?
Great guy, that Terrence. They're
told you, right?
They're definitely gone.
I told. Oh, they are good. That's great because, like I said, them's Titans problems. I can't stop them.
Still not sure what exactly they were, but they're definitely gone. Anyway, L is where we were before I left. I'm fairly certain.
We
was an
were,
ale.
and you see slam down in front of you 2 mugs.
Very nice.
One for the greetings because it's your first time, and one because you helped Terrence. And that's just good folk.
Sandy, I think we're going to be fast friends.
Oh, I think so too. Especially if you got coin for later.
Well, I am going to need a few of these to go. The others
Oh,
are
is
back
this for
doing-
the whole team?
yeah, the others are back doing something with their hair that seemed unnecessary, but they seem to enjoy it.
You know, it takes all kinds. Some people like to pamper, and some people like to explore. So if they want to pamper, that's fine. If you want to pamper, guess what? You still need ale. So here, and he
Yeah,
hands
I figure
you.
if we're going to have any enjoyment together, there's going to have to be some kind of lubricant. So I should probably take some of this with me.
And he's handing you like a tiny barrel of ale as you're saying that.
Perfect.
Okay, now you have fun. Did you tell Terrence I said hi?
I did. He said, I don't remember what he said. Wow.
Well, he probably said hi back because he's polite like that.
He's a
Good old
good guy.
Terrence.
That's probably true. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go with that. All right. Well, see you around, Sandy.
We see a cowboy hat turn and start to walk out a door. And as it takes up the entirety of the doorway, so the lack of light from the clouds gets fully obfuscated. You hear another thud. Thud. And our camera sees the other 3 thud. As the blue figure completely ghostifies and the woodwoads just stop and stand there again.
That seems like a good ominous.
Yeah, ominous is exactly the word I was thinking of. Yeah.
You
okay.
feel so as you've brought it close and you've waited a second, you've tested, right? I'm not going to make you describe literally. I hold it close and then I take it away. And then, as you experiment for a bit and you feel like it seems to have gotten them away.
Excellent.
The bright light did away with them, and you've still got brightness from this glowing thing in your hand. It won't last forever, but who knows?
Right.
So Zane would look over at Caraf and go, "What exactly was that? Looked magnificent."
It's called a wib nobbler.
Wib?
A wib nobbler. Yeah,
Casey's ready.
I stole it from a guy who owed me $100. Yeah. Yeah, I
See.
think it's actually significantly more valuable than that, but you really got to pay your debtors. Is how I come down on that.
Significantly valuable. Interesting.
Yeah.
So did you use it up? Can you use it again?
I think that's the one time we get it, and so I hope we can figure out what to do about this situation before it dies out. Otherwise, I will have wasted a semi-valuable thing that I got kind of for free.
Right. Just so you know, just so you know for the future, if you want a light, I can give you a light. All you have to do is ask, friend.
Well, I'm embarrassed. So embarrassed. But okay. You know what? Zane, that's what I'm gonna do from now on. I've learned. Now I don't have to spend my expensive treasures. I can ask my friend. That's okay. Yes, a light. I'll remember. Thank you.
That thing looks wib nobbler, wob nibbler. It looks like it is just so incredibly special. I would hate for you to completely run out. So just let me know if you need a light next time, okay, friend?
We'll do. We'll do. I feel silly. Just this thing is just lit up now.
Do you guys hear the thud? Thuds?
Oh,
They're
no.
increasing.
Keep going. I just want the atmosphere to be there.
Yes.
I love the idea that this is seeing
I know.
thuds causing drama as they're like, this is important.
Right, they're
You
like-
got to hash this out first. This is part of it. Thud. This is just a thing you do. Thud.
It's
Love it.
very Buffy.
What I do
Because
like
if
about
there's anybody that knows about magical treasures, I have some experience with that, and I could tell that was just something that was. I haven't seen that before, so I just wanted you to know. 'Cause
Okay.
who knows? I mean, what else does it do? Does it catch on fire? Does it just get brighter? Does it? What else does it do? Does it turn different colors? I seem very, very engaged in figuring out more.
I'm realizing now I never knew how expensive or nice this thing was, unless Casey has a more detailed backstory for it that I'm not aware of. And kind of regretting I'm having speller's
Casey
remorse.
100% has a backstory, and because you're new, and I want to help with regret. We're going to take lots of these breaks, guys, because y'all are learning, and I don't want you to not. I want peace as we play. It was invented the second that you said I think I would have something that gets bright. It wasn't there before, so don't regret it. Always make up crap, and you're probably not going to have it off your pocket in the later, but you might create something that is then available in the world to go get somewhere, right?
That's cool.
So
Wood wobbler.
So
no,
you shouldn't feel bad about it because 20 minutes ago you didn't even have it,
That's
and now
true.
you have an extra one, and one still going.
That.
So.
And any time that Zane tries to talk about this object, it's going to be some weird mispronunciation of the actual name, just so you know.
Perfect.
Same with
Perfect.
Atiye, but like, you know, just because that's how she is always. She's gonna like even do a mispronunciation of Zane's mispronunciation. So it's like telephone. But
Yeah, Zane
Atiye,
said it was wobble dibble.
yeah,
dibble
she's gonna be
dop.
like, what do we wibbler? But like while they're still conversing, Atiye is like freaking out because she's very tuned into the thudding and is like kind of perplexed as to why this conversation is happening. She's just like she's trying to tune in, but she's
I think it's called avoidance. I think it's two people dealing with something by avoiding it.
Yeah. And Atiye's like, what the?
So imagine basically half clothed Zane with, pecs almost bursting out of the shirt, almost going like enunciating the mouth, Wibnobleber?
Yeah, Wibnobler.
Like really trying to get this right.
So Atiye, as they're talking, keep going. As they're talking, you creep toward the door, and you're listening because you're on high alert. You've got your dagger or bow and arrow ready.
I have both. Yeah, but like at this point, I would be pulling out because I have good night vision. I'd be pulling out my bow and arrow, hoping they're far away. Yeah.
And you hear coming down the stairs a slithering kind of noise. So there's a thud, and then a slither, and a thud, and a slither. And the first thing you can see is a long green something just past the edge of the roundabout. And then another one. And you hear the sound of it sliding along the wall. And they're not near each other, really. One is on this side and one is on that side. And you see them almost tense. Interrupt me whenever you want, but this is what's happening. You see them both tense because y'all are playing a game. I'm just describing, right? And my description depends on what you're doing. And so they tense, and then you hear another thud.
So
and then the first one.
Yeah. Atiye is terrified of snakes. She doesn't fully understand why, but like because we know as a backstory, she can turn into a bird.
You don't get a snake vibe from what you're seeing. It does not.
Okay.
It is up on the wall.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then she's not as terrified, but she's still creeped out.
I want you minimum creeped out. I don't want you.
Okay.
Then another. It creeps forward, and then you see a third one that wraps around that cylinder, and another pull and a thud, and another one, and then as the two in the background are still talking, you hear a pause.
Wibnobler.
Yeah.
Wibby Noobler.
Wibnobler.
So I think Atiye would. She can make out an edge of something to shoot.
You almost see like it's too big, but it's almost like fingers reaching around trying to slowly.
Okay, so if she, and maybe I should do a roll, but like if she gets a finger vibe, she's not gonna try to shoot it because she's going to think that perhaps it doesn't know they're there, and like
Let me rephrase then. It's not literally finger looking. It's tentacle looking, but it's acting like fingers that are kind of pulling and creeping.
Okay, then she would definitely try to shoot it.
Okay, so go ahead and
take like one tentacle.
Take make an attack roll. I'll say with advantage.
And what roll?
Just an attack roll. So your longbow button. Okay. With a 24. Yep. So you shoot this thing. And it, like everything else, you shoot your arrows true. You can see in the dark. There's the one glowing torch above you. So we see from almost a darkened doorway an arrow sliding out past the torch, and it creeps forward and it hits, slams into the green, and there's no reaction to it. But it is sticking out now of this tentacle that's on the side. And there's one of those beats, and then you hear a sound as this, what you see is a large frog shaped with tentacles coming out of it, some sort of monster, lands at the bottom of the stairs. And it's got tentacles whirling around everywhere. And it doesn't really make noises like the blue monsters, but it's more like it's a gurgly. I can't do deep stuff, so it's a gurgly, deep kind of noise as the tentacles are flailing around, and it is slowly one step coming towards you.
Atiye in her head is like, are we allowed to cuss? Or
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
she,
No
okay.
mature content. You're good.
She's like, I'm just gonna say we're screwed in case they're children, because children are great and I don't want to expose them. But she's like, yeah, I'll protect the children and the wood woes or wood wobblers. But so yeah, so she's like very much wobble. Oh wait, man, too many W's.
Waterburgers.
Water. She's gonna protect the Waterburgers and the children. But yeah, so she definitely thinks like we're trapped and this thing is coming very fast and it doesn't seem to be like killable. So she's internally freaking out.
To be clear about two things.
It's come down the stairs at this point, right?
It has reached the bottom of the stairs, and I just want to change two things. It might be killable. All you know is that the arrow's sticking out of it and it will react. Second, while you say it's coming fast, it is, but it's coming fast in a menacing way. It's moving very slowly.
Okay.
In a menacing
it's not like
way,
water.
Right? It's more Friday the guy that follows you and never runs. It's not hurrying. I've never seen any of those, so I don't actually know which one does that.
They always end up running at the end. But yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But okay, that's good to know. So yeah, she still feels apprehensive just because she's very strong with her bow and arrow. And it doesn't look like it did damage, but she, yeah.
You have heard of things like zombies, or there are other things that don't have much sensation that wouldn't react to it, but it still damages their body. So a lack of reaction is worrying as much because it puts it in a category of, I don't like those things.
Of zombies, yeah.
I don't like whatever that is. Like you shot a tree, it wouldn't scream, but you hurt the tree, right?
That's
so it's like that. So you shot it, it lands at the bottom, it gurgles and flails its arms. Right after we heard a wobble-doo?
Knobbler. We have knobbler.
Thud, and then it lands.
We've been doing this for 4.5 minutes. We have knobbler. Sorry, what?
Atiye turns around. Oh, sorry, you go, Zane.
I feel like that may have been enough to get my attention out of this conversation.
Yeah.
I feel pretty safe in assuming that. So I'd whip around, put my hand on my hip, and look real sassy and go, Atiye, come on. This was supposed to be a spa day. Didn't you get the memo? What is this? We didn't invite that.
And Atiye has a good comeback for the first time. She goes, if you want a seaweed wrap, let's kill this thing first. And she's so proud because she never has anything good or funny to say.
And I go,
you can see the smile on her face.
Marvelous idea.
She's like, this is worth it, even if we die here.
Okay.
Love it.
So it sounds like you're intending to attack this thing. Caraf, your audience has left, redirected their attention. Do you...
Caraf knows a good fight pun when they hear one, and sets down the Wibnobbler on the edge of the well and leaves the Woodwodes to fight the ghostly Zvarths and heads to help their friends.
I'm going to say, if you leave it on the edge of the well, at some point I'm going to have to knock it in and call you a fool of a took. So are you sure you want to leave it on the edge?
When I say like the ground edge of the well, not on the ledge of the well.
Thank you. I didn't want to have to do that.
I did deserve it. To be fair, I had it coming.
It was good. Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't not. The imagery was just too exact. So, you all three prepare to attack. I want you to each give this thing. It's tentacles start to whip out as it's moving forward, one lumbering step at a time. I want you each to just make an attack roll. It has a very low AC, not because it doesn't have tough hide, but because it's so large it's hard to miss.
What's AC?
Sorry,
Advantage?
make an attack roll. Its AC is its armor class, how hard it is to hit.
Ah, that's nice.
Like, you super hit it with a 24, you could hit it with less.
Oh.
That's
Wait,
all
is
of us.
that me? Oh, I didn't mean to do that one. Sorry.
That's fine.
Wait, I didn't.
We can
I
use the
didn't mean to
same
do this
attack
one.
roll for it. So you had an 18 with your
Okay.
longbow. Totally fine.
You said advantage?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, just not advantage. Just it has a low AC, so it's easy to hit.
Oh. Just kidding.
Got it. Okay. Ooh, that's not great. Okay.
That's good.
18.
That's
Yep.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So both of you run up and take a swing at it, or excuse me, one of you runs up and takes a swing with your what is this? This is a two-handed warhammer. So you smash down, and one of the tentacles just falls off and is now wiggling on the ground. The as if still attached to the body. The arrow sticks into the middle of it, and it kind of pierces through a little more than the first one did, because the first one was so far up the it was
This.
make an insight check. How about that? Make an insight check.
Okay.
I need
Atiye, who did
a noise description. What does it sound like when those things happen? And is there anything oozing?
Ooh.
Nothing oozes. The sound maintains what it was before, as if it didn't even notice it happened. I'm not going to try to do that again, because being sick last week, my throat is nearly at its capacity. But the lower wobbly noise. Someday I'll take voice lessons so I can do a low noise. Do it again.
I went.
That's good.
Yeah, I can't.
I just am saying wobble
It hurts.
because you said wobble.
I can't, it's not happening.
Wibnobler.
With a total insight, you beat the 10 that was the DC for this one.
Yay.
You can tell, especially having dealt with the two Xvarts, that the first hit it when it was in the darkness, and the second one hit it as it's entering a room that has some light.
Oh.
And it seems
Nice.
like in the presence of this light, it is doing less good. So your
Nice.
arrow sinks into it.
Good. Okay. So I tell that, I say, bring the light forward. Bring the wood knob, and I try to say whatever it is. And I say, the light, bring it forward.
Caraf knows what Atiye is talking about, and begrudgingly slouches and walks towards the wibnobler.
Okay.
Because nobody
The
can say
camera-
his name.
The camera is going to see Zane at this moment. What does it look like seeing Zane, who was avoiding this as much as possible, and then it arrived, and you offhandedly spade, right? What does the camera see while the fight starts and Zane is still there?
A pretty bemused look on his face. Resignation would probably also cross his face. Fine, I suppose. I suppose we'll have to engage this intruder to our new home. And then if Caraf is I'm guessing that Caraf is going to retrieve this Whataburger wobbly
Yes.
whatever.
Yes,
Single
the wibnobler. Yes.
I don't know that Zane would actually engage in a battle at this point, but what he would do is he would snap his fingers and say, "Oh, allow me," and his invisible mage hand would go and grab the wet
Wibnobler.
slobber. Yes, the wet
Wet
slobber, and
Yeah.
and carry
Oh
it
my
and say, "Where would you like it?"
Where would
And he's
you
just
like this
standing
wet
there while
slobber?
the mage hand just goes and picks it up if he can. I don't know if he.
Yeah, you can. It is less than 5 pounds.
Wet slobber.
Caraf, acknowledging that the wibnobler situation has been taken care of, readies themselves for whatever we're capable of doing next.
So is the staircase, the spiral staircase, is it a little bit darker? Where do you want
is up the stairs is very darker. The entryway there does have one torch, so it went from no torches to near one to a room with two and the whip doubler.
Okay.
So as the mage hand grabs this
Do you
and
want it?
Caraf prepares.
Why was I worried about cussing? I'm kidding.
Yeah, you're good.
As I mean, I always shoot for the I'm watching Home Improvement as a little kid, and you don't have any clue all those dirty jokes that you're missing.
Yeah.
You watch it again as an adult, and you're like, oh wow.
Ah.
This is
Ah.
my
I
new
am
goal. I'm kidding.
So as you grab it and Caraf prepares in case there's something else, Caraf probably takes a circles around to get a better position and has a stance ready. The Wib Nobbler comes closer and closer. Is that Wib Nobbler? Okay, I was like John's saying it
There's
right
a lot
every
of
time.
pronunciations I can say.
Wib Nobbler.
I have no clue.
So as it gets closer and closer, the thing does the same thing that the Svarts did. It starts to fade. Not in the way that they did, in that it happens more slowly. It is much more massive. Your impression as it gets closer, especially Atiye, who saw both and had that kind of understanding of the Fae and being in two places at once, you get the feeling that this thing was more here than the Svarts were. Something about this was more in this plane, more in this place than they were. Give me an insight check. Anybody in the room who's been seeing this? Wayne doesn't quite have the clues yet to make an insight check for this, but he will. Oh, great. Everybody's got good insight. So Caraf probably with 18. 20 was for the super solid information. 18, you get a good clue. And that good clue is that this one was created from the sounds that you heard from when you went there. Caraf's like, this one was created a lot later than the others. The others had been fighting for a while, and they weren't as here. This one appeared much later. There was time for a squabble. There was time for us to deal with it, to debate while we're holding all sorts of stuff, and then the first thud. So Caraf thinks time is something relevant to it. Wayne, so as the light's heading closer and this thing is starting to dissolve, and we see a look come into Caraf's face. We see Wayne walking back, and he sees that the sky is getting darker, which, with what you saw earlier with your great perception check, it shouldn't be. There weren't enough clouds to cause it to get darker, but something wrong is happening so that the clouds are passing even more quickly over the sun, or under the sun, creating a very dark city, a very dark skyline. And you're probably back toward the forest near the house, right? Because you've been heading back with this small keg of ale. So as you're walking back, I want you to make a perception check, and this is like 20 DC for you. I want everybody else to make a perception check that's like a 25 DC. So it might not be possible.
Insight, you said?
Perception.
Oh.
Oops, ignore that one.
Okay. You don't want to persuade the air? Okay. The best of those was a 16. So it doesn't mean much to you, Caraf, but you now have that sensation that I described for Wayne earlier of there's something in the other room. There's something open that wasn't before. And that's it. We're going to call it here. The camera sees Wayne walking back, sees a large, for the viewers, I'll say it's just a small froghemoth is the name of this thing with the tentacles that is slowly fading. We see a Caraf walking back with a jug. We see the water moving in the river as a Terrence is walking underneath. A smiling Sandy, the bartender, who's greeted people and now knows even more about what there is going on in his town. We see the three that are stopping this froghemoth downstairs and two woodwoads that, as the camera passes them, they start to fade. It looks like a different filter in the video editing, but so they fade, but they don't fade as a cloud. They fade like just disappearing. So they don't become less. I don't know how to describe it, but in my head there's a total picture, and y'all should all imagine that it makes sense. so they fade differently, and then the camera blinks and reappears, and you see from this new vantage point a dark room surrounded by stone, and in the middle of it is kind of the audience sees what looks like a stone version of a nest, little shards like twigs but of stone all put together, scratched up, broken off, and on that sits a large green gem, yay big, not glowing, just a dark, almost scaly gem. And right as Caraf gets that feeling and that look in his eye, we can see both happening on the screen at once. That look appears in his eye right as a crack forms on the gem.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to call it.
Great stuff. Thanks, Casey. That was awesome. It was so much fun.
Yay.
They,
Great job, peeps.
indeed.
All right.
That
was fun.
I love how Wayne had a Coach Beard style Ted Lasso solo adventure.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. Yeah.
And he made a new best friend. His only best friend as of right now.
Indeed.
Terrence is my boy.
Yeah.
At this point.
I could imagine you guys having your own TV show, honestly.
But apparently he's kind of stuck to the bridge, so we have to work that issue out.
Yeah.
We solve everything that ever happens down by that in their bridge.
Everything within a mile and a half of the bridge. That's
no crime in this bridge.
That's our territory.
So
we could have solved it if only it was 2 feet further that way.
Right. I guess I'll stop tracing.
Before we go off air, in terms of logistics, are we planning to be back in 2 weeks? We planning on 3 weeks? Do we know yet? If we don't know yet, we can always tweet it out later, announce it later.
I'm still thinking. Let me rephrase. I will be ready for 2.
Same.
That's up to y'all's availability. Hopefully, my throat will be back by then. This is my version of subdued. Is it's not that subdued. It's just more draining.
Oh, so. It's a lot of. You're narrating the whole thing. You're doing a great job. Yeah, you're doing great. It's full focus the whole
2 weeks should be better.
Okay,
it should be fine.
Yeah, November 1st.
I can do that.
Should be okay.
Yeah. Day of the Dead. Good day for
creepy.
Dungeons and Dragons. Great. Yeah.
The same music theme. Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Works for me. This was fun.
All
Thanks.
right. Well, we'll go offline here and then we'll hang out backstage. But we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Seven fans. You're wonderful. We love you. Thank you. Bye.